We are live.
It's right now. Perfect timing. All right. Call to order the Columbus City Parks Board meeting here, April 28th, 6 p.m. First thing we'll do is take attendance.
Roger Farrell.
Karen Cody.
Kim Barga.
Myself, Mark Ellis, and Keith Nicholson's absent. And we got an agenda here. So you want to start with oh, you know what? Sorry. Item number 1, review of the minutes. Everybody get a chance to look at the minutes from last month. How about that? And if you have anything to say about it, or any things that we need to amend?
I move, oh, go ahead.
No, you go right ahead, I'll second it.
I move that we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
I second.
Any discussion or anything about that? Okay. Well, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. Okay. Now we'll go on to the new business.
Yeah, we'll go to new business and we'll change it up just a little bit. Because I think you guys should have the harassment policy. Should be first there. As you guys requested, Beth from HR, she put the definition in there. That's what's in red. So if you guys want to take a minute, if you haven't already, and see if that is something that was what you were looking for.
That covers everything.
I know you guys asked about a
For the
definition.
volunteer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
volunteer definition,
Mhm.
so,
I think that's good.
Yeah, I like that.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
okay, alright.
I
Well,
like this statement, must be approved by the appropriate department head and must work under the direct supervision of a city employee.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, I think that's very important.
yep. And then they took some verbiage out and replaced it in D, section D there. Talks about the investigation and follow-up.
Mhm.
So. Again, if you guys like that and everything, you put your stamp on it, please, so I can take it to Beth.
I like it.
Yeah. Yep.
I move that we approve the harassment policy.
I second.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Sure, okay.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We will then go to, well, I guess I didn't even have it on the schedule. Yeah, right there, Walter. The moving of the monuments. Remember you guys, we were talking about the monuments up there at the flagpole. It was dubbed the Korean
Right.
Yeah.
monument.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, through further investigation, there was some incorrect statements and names on it. So because Gary Bird did his research on it, went through, found some mistakes, and said that it wouldn't be, everybody that is on that memorial is memorialized at the courthouse on the Vietnam down there in the Korean memorial, so he didn't see that it was necessary to go ahead and move the placards and everything over because there's already
We already have one.
already a monument. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on that.
Mhm. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah.
A lot of work
Yes.
to do all that.
And he's good. That's his passion.
That's his forte, yeah.
Yep. He cuts right to the chase and can get right to the, and he's got the connections to do that.
Mhm.
So
So are they just getting rid of them, or?
we have the plates in case
Mhm.
someone asks.
Oh,
But as of right now, we're not moving forward with any type of
right.
memorial at Patriotic Park. Then the trail along the high school, the new trail from the high school. We sat in a meeting last week, and that should be done very quickly.
It's moving fast.
I know,
is.
it looks great.
Really.
It's moving really fast. They've not encountered too many obstacles, so that helps.
Yeah.
You know, when you stick a bulldozer in the ground, you usually find things that you weren't ready.
Yeah, wasn't bothered or-
There was a couple of those. It was some buried manholes,
Oh.
manhole covers and lids, and so they fixed those. But really, that's been the extent of it. May 22nd, I believe, is what they told us. R.L. McCoy will be bringing in the bridge. They don't know if they're going to have one crane or two cranes to bring that in, but they're just going to bring it in, set it down, and to done.
I'm excited.
Yeah, and then after they get that, then they'll proof roll the part of the trail that they've got that's not concrete, and then once they do that, then they will do the finishing. So it's on schedule to be finished by July, no problem.
When will they start asphalt work from?
Soon after
what
the
is
bridge.
business? Okay.
They want to wait until the bridge is set, so they know which direction to start from and to proof roll from. And the other big thing is they might be required to use some bigger equipment, you know, in there. And you know, if they mess it up, then it gives them time to.
Sure.
They'd rather mess up the dirt than the asphalt. So.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's just fantastic.
Okay, so I have on here the baseball field agreement. I don't know if you guys remembered one of my first meetings. We had went through and we did a baseball agreement with On Turf, and it was
Yes.
going to be the agreement for all tournaments. Now we've run into a snag with that. Just like anything else, you can't think of everything. I'm gonna let Joel and Mark Green from On Turf know about this as well, so they can come in and talk to you guys and explain to you how their side of things work. But what we're running into again is case in point. Last weekend was a weekend that they had down on the books, and they didn't do anything. So that would be a chance for us to be able to either make up games if we had. It could be so we could have our opening day weekend on Saturday. Our teams could practice. So it kind of just leaves us in the lurch, and they don't. They put a date down. They don't pay unless they actually use the fields. So it's a very gray area in there because you don't, you know. Do you require deposits? And then it was kind of set up that way, but then again, they've always not missed a weekend, and it's hard when you're setting things up in September for them to set things up in September and know that you're going to play. But it's also like you're taking our resources.
Right.
Well, I can understand them not playing if, like,
Why-
you know,
yeah.
inclement weather or something like that. But was
They had a tournament.
Did they know ahead of time? When I was.
Yeah, we looked on their website. Yeah,
Did
And
they
it-
let you know ahead of time?
I know. I had to ask.
See, that's a problem.
Yes,
That's
that's
right,
what it
that's,
is.
yes, lack of communication.
Yeah, so he's, cause I went to the website and saw that they didn't have anything going on. And so I called him and said, are you going, you got anything going on? And I said, I see there's other weekends that are like that. And he said that I was correct, and there are weekends that are like that are coming up, and that he'd get me a list, and, if he forgets or doesn't get back to me, get back a hold of him. And so, it would be different if they were telling us a week in advance so we could try to do something. I just didn't know. I just want you guys to be prepared for that when I think it's only right that they come in. They haven't been in since I've been park director to kind of explain to you. And I don't know how many of you guys were on the board when they first came in, because they've been with us probably 12 years.
I'm not sure if I was.
So it'd be a good probably meeting point and to talk to them and, so that everybody can have that communication and understanding.
Was there a possibility on the weekends, let's say this happens again, and we're not aware of it till the
Mhm.
last minute,
Mhm.
can we at least get half the money? The half?
I'd
half
have
of
to
the-
look at the agreement to see
Yeah,
how
I
it's stated
I
in
mean,
there.
That's a
Right,
weekend that we could have.
If they
Mhm.
reserve dates and they're not using it, they should.
Well, I
Should
just,
still pay, or
Something.
let us, like, we should say, you have to let us know 2 weeks in advance.
Wait,
or-
yes, there might have to be
Unbelievable.
something like that in
Yeah.
there, right, yes.
Yeah.
But they've
Or
already
be
signed an
fully
agreement, right,
For this year.
for this year,
Yeah,
so.
So it'd be going forward.
So,
it'd
so
be
that's why
going
I'm telling you
forward,
guys
yes.
now is that you guys can
Mhm.
kind of think about it and let you guys know, your thoughts and, so it doesn't blindside you. Because it is something we need,
Is that a yearly,
it is,
okay,
yes. So usually, September
September's when we'll do that.
is
Yeah.
usually when he wants to get all of his dates for the next year and talk about it and
Okay,
things like that. So I think it'd be good for them to even come and present again to you guys, to kind of,
refresher.
yeah.
Sure.
So that was just informational.
can you remind us about that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Close.
Yep, I sure will. The skate park we were just talking about, that will be done here. They wanted to have a grand opening in June. I know that Tad is working on that with Mike Thomas. The problem we're running into right now is that everybody sees and believes that it's done. And so as the guys are working, they ask if they can ride on it. The workers over there, or they don't want to talk to anybody, so they're like, yeah, sure, you can ride down there, but we're working here. And this weekend, I guess, there was
Oh, I
all
saw
kinds of,
tons of kids there, yes, all
all
weekend.
kinds.
Kids out there now,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, so it's an attractive nuisance right now. Hopefully, everybody stays safe.
We're going back to the attractive, I know what the attractive nuisance is, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, with the way it's set up, these guys finish their finish work around to finish what they call finish grade.
Mhm.
Then T&E and Schenkel come in and they final grade the rest of it, and they put sidewalks in to connect everything. And so that's why you got this week, then you got 2 weeks for them to do that, and then before you know it, bam, we're in June. So, depending on weather and things. So I know Mike is trying to push it up, but there's really no, even if we pushed it up, there'd still be no sidewalks.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So right now, that's where the discussion's at, with the skate park, but,
I would be more inclined to go a little further out into the summer, that way we get some grass growth, and we don't have dirt and mud
Yeah.
getting onto the,
yeah.
right
Oh,
on the surface.
yeah, I would say that, we're gonna have
I
to
mean,
clean it
obviously,
off.
there'll be people on it before, but
Yeah,
have an official grand opening with.
that's gonna be the tough part,
celebration,
because there's gonna
it'll-
be,
it'll
there's gonna
bring
be
people
mud.
It'll bring people from surrounding counties,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Yeah, Warsaw's taking another look at theirs now, because they've gotten a little pressure off of this one, and pressure off of Kendallville's, so they're re-looking at what they might need to do. So yeah, so that's kind of the update on the skate park. Dugouts got done.
Yay.
I talked to the Amish crew on Saturday. They put in the last 2 posts, and today the guys worked very hard to clean up little bits and pieces as much as they could, and get the fields ready for play tonight. So as we speak, they should be playing on them.
Great.
So nothing like going to the last minute. Then what we're gonna do is, I think, I talked to Tom Rinsler, my head of maintenance, my maintenance supervisor, and I believe we have enough block to where we would like to make half dugouts. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but basically the bottom half of the dugout is cinder block. So the bottom 4 to 5 feet is cinder block all the way around. Then you build the rest up.
Mhm.
So it's like just putting a roof on it, but you got longer longer beams or posts
Mhm.
to put up to make it high enough. I think that'll be A, good use of the extra block that we have, and B, those diamonds are in a shaded area
Well, where are you talking about?
on 5 and 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on 5 and 6, because we have a problem with the wood rotting on 5 and 6.
Well, it's moisture. Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah, they
because of
don't
the
have
woods. Yep, and it's kind of away from everybody, and you know they get picked on. Those wooden dugouts, they just get picked on. So, so that's what we're trying to come collectively together for at the fall to maybe start this, and so we won't have a last minute run for the roses to get them done. But that's what we're hoping to do with 5 and 6 is to upgrade those dugouts as well going forward. In case you have inquiring minds that want to know if we're doing anything to 5 and 6. Let's see, so that's that. Skate park. So dog park.
Yes.
Here is, and I think you guys have it in front of you as well. This is laid out by JPR. Is for, on the first page there you can see it's for a big and small dog park. And this is what they're gonna be, they're doing the perimeter chain link fence, seating, an entrance for shade, some play amenities, a dog wash station possibly nearby, and a vehicular parking surface. So with that being said, if you go back to almost the last page, well I guess it is the last page, you'll see the view of the current skate park in there.
Square.
Yeah. So when I was down there with JPR, the current basketball courts are the two areas that come together, the two yellow areas. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
Yep, you had it. So there's a basketball goal about there and a basketball goal about there. What they had some really good ideas, JPR did. Some of these ramps that we have, we would just cut up and scrap them. But with what they understand it to be, we can actually use these ramps and manufacture them so they'll be safe for dogs. And we actually put them inside,
Repurpose them?
repurpose them inside the dog
I
park.
was gonna suggest something else to do with the ramps,
Because some dogs, you know,
That's fine.
they need to have a place to hide.
Sure.
You know, and so it's a more natural thing. And you can see there that the yellow, this I guess left side kind of crowns out.
It dips into the woods a little.
Yes, that's what we want to have that area to where the dogs can go into the woods and naturally play in that fenced in area.
So you've been here long enough that, like the small dog park area
Mm-hmm.
flood?
It can.
Portion of it, probably not all of it, but
What-
all of it has flooded.
All of this that we are
Yes.
looking at, except for the park office,
Yes, has. However, there's a section along that small dog park and that wooded area that you wanna have for the larger one,
Mhm.
that will get pretty wet,
Mhm.
but there's a significant amount of dirt piled back there that could be leveled off, right?
yeah.
To help curb some of that.
And this dirt that's here
Uh-huh.
that
Uh-huh.
you're talking about,
Yep.
that was from a
Correct.
parking lot job
Yes.
that we did down at the main
Several
parking
years
lot.
ago.
And we kept that dirt because we thought we were going to be able to use it.
Yep.
And we didn't use it fast enough, so it's kind of made itself an own mound.
Mm-hmm.
So to that point, we're actually going to, I've talked to JPR about integrating the mound as well into the dog park. So it'll be a nature feature, all nature over on the one side closest to the woods and over this way, not necessarily for small dogs, but for the bigger dogs.
Mm-hmm.
This area here too stays flooded, it's part of that swale,
Yeah.
so it can stay wet as well.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about it is that this concrete is already, it's really good.
It's really good, yeah.
The concrete can be, no, it's a scammer, I'm sure. So what we talked about is is across where the red lines would come together. Just imagine that being like two separate fences, and this would be like an alleyway. So the gate would allow the person to come in with their dog, and then you pick which one you're gonna go into, which if you have a large dog,
Okay.
you go in. That way there's no chance for a dog to bolt.
Right, right, like a double door.
Correct. And then that also allow this person to wait until this person gets in, so there's maybe no, infighting with big dog or small dog. And with this being really good concrete, then like they said in here, they would wanna do, like a seating for the guardians. So have a bench, and it can be metal, and it can actually be fastened down. Not gonna go anywhere. And then we can also put, a small, I think, a shade structure
Mm-hmm.
there, so that the guardians aren't necessarily just sitting out in the sun baking themselves.
Right.
They can sit underneath that.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
It also lends us
Candles
to
or something.
have utilities
Uh-huh.
that are close, which where the other dog park was proposed, we had no utilities, we're gonna have to run them all. So we can actually hook on to water up by the old office or over here, run a water line, and then the dogs have their own drinking stations, so they can drink there. And with us knowing that it's gonna be wet, we could possibly have what they said here, is, I think they,
Dog wash station.
Wash
dog wash
station?
station.
Yeah,
So you can just quickly,
oh, that would be nice.
rinse off your dog so you don't get the mud in the car.
Yep.
But this is, it's just, it lends itself to where we're repurposing this area.
So, a question, with the, excuse me, the existing skate park slab that's
Mhm.
out there,
Mhm.
what is the plan for that?
The plan for that would be, is that you have these front 4 parking spots, you'd make it a parking lot, and these front 4 would be, dog park, or it would just turn into big parking lot for field 6 and for the playground, which we do not currently have parking
Okay,
for that.
correct.
And then this parking lot right here could be all for the dog park. So we could put spillover here.
So you're gonna use that for parking either way, some
Mhm.
type of parking?
Good.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right.
Yeah, excellent.
So trying to use what we have, in case nobody likes it.
Yeah,
Because this is an area of the park that, it has purpose right now, but it's gonna go away.
It does.
And, it's not a big sprawling grass area like north of 30, to where if nobody likes that, then we have unusable green space, and we need all the green space we can get right now.
Yeah, well, this also solves some issues with, like the other proposed dog park area on the other side of US 30. Now we don't have to go back as far, bathrooms.
Mhm.
And-
Right.
And to me, the bigger thing is we've had security issues along there
Mhm.
with activity, right?
Mhm.
And so that will be curbed.
Yes, yes, and hopefully that this is still their own little area, yet everybody can still be there. I mean, if you've got a dog that is not happy with all these people over here playing, then you probably have other problems with your dog inside the fence. So, it's gonna lend itself to be, a very good place. Cause people have
So-
asked about the ball fields, they've asked about this. And it also, a lot of people park in this grass right here,
They do.
and they park in that swale, and it's wet, they get stuck. Now, this would open up for them to be
Yeah.
actually able to park,
Not a ton of cars, but a few.
but a few.
So, would it be beneficial to, I know that's a low area there, but maybe put a walking path and a low bridge or something, like a walking pedestrian bridge that's across or somewhere so people can run, go over to the restroom area? Or is that just not necessary because, there is that lane, but we don't want anyone to get hit by a vehicle driving on that lane either.
That's
If they
something,
do have to run back to the restroom or something like that, cause
That-
there's really no way to get to the restroom other than walk down the
and
drive.
cross over,
Yeah, and
right,
then cross over through that wet area.
right.
If it is wet.
And it might be something that we do have a sidewalk here that stops at the playground. That might be something we look at to come on around.
Yes. and then put a small bridge or
that might
tile or
be,
something across with a land bridge of some sort.
and you may not even
May not even
need to do that.
Right, might not need to, just
Yeah.
own it and be
You
done.
just might just need to make the connector from here
Mhm.
to there, and that wouldn't be a bad idea, cause I think that would probably,
That would not be good, I don't think.
That'd be
Just going
intrusive.
Straight shot would be bad.
I think it'd be intrusive.
Yeah, go out, I like to go out and around.
So I'll just make some
That's good,
notes
yeah.
here. And then we can finish that and it's, kinda bookends that a little bit.
So,
I think this is a great,
the rounded
great area
area
for
on the large dog park,
Yeah,
I guess the closer to the park office and the playground.
Yep.
If that was just squared off into a corner, would that be cheaper putting in fence wise, or does it not
I
matter?
guess I'm not watching where you're pointing.
This corner up here,
Uh-huh,
so
uh-huh.
if that was just more of a square,
Well,
right?
he just kinda did it with Google Map and some
Okay.
measuring.
Okay,
This.
I didn't know if that was intended just to be an arc, cause that would give you a little bit more acreage.
Well, and
Just a little.
this is kind of like the bottom radius of this hill. It still has a hill,
Uh-huh,
but that's the
Right.
really sharp point.
yeah, it is,
And so I think they were just using the topography
okay,
of
Oh,
the
no.
land.
yeah.
If we wanted to go out and square it off. The other thing though is that with animals, they don't like corners. They feel threatened.
I never thought of that.
They always want a way out. And so
Get the corner.
keep this rounded.
Like that.
It de-stresses the
excellent.
So around everything.
if you can.
Yeah.
Plus, it's good for mowers.
Yeah. Corners are terrible.
Yeah.
So,
I like this, especially, we wouldn't really have to put any trees in there,
mm-mm.
because it's somewhat shaded in the afternoon, especially in the 3 o'clock time frame, right?
Especially for the small
Yeah,
dogs.
yeah, in the morning for the small dogs. for sure.
And with us bringing the nature part of it in,
Mhm.
we don't need as many obstacles.
Right,
Mhm.
And with some of the ramps, they had a very good, they had, like, we'd have to put, like artificial turf on top of them so they wouldn't get hot for the paws.
Mhm.
But there's several of them that we could cut straight instead of having the ramp part. And then they have a place to hide underneath and they have a place to be on top. And that's kind of what animals like. They like to either be on top or they like to be able to kind of hide away and come out at their own pace.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a big shock for some dogs if they've not been socialized.
Definitely.
So acreage wise, do you know, do they have dimensions there?
It's
as far as
just
how much
actually,
acreage-wise?
this whole thing that we were looking at was approximately, it was just a little over an acre.
Oh, that's pretty good size.
And most dog parks, they say, should be 1 to 5 acres. And so we're right on that,
Small, but that's okay.
we're right on that starting point.
Mhm.
But if you look at it, we have places to go for the small.
Yeah.
If we need big, we can go and we can come out. So,
Yeah, small, you're kinda locked.
yeah, but bigger area,
Yeah.
we're not.
Yeah, right.
You can even clear this off right here and
Cause
have
it goes up
them,
the hill.
and have them
Yeah.
come over here
Yeah,
towards
goes
the
on up
hill.
into the hill, yeah.
So this is just to kind of get us started and kind of get our feet wet and make sure that this is something that, is good for
Mhm.
our community. And then if it really sparks and goes, absolutely, we can make arrangements for adding on the fence and taking this out and moving this and making it bigger. But I was just, when I met with JPR, I thought this was a great starting point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I do too.
You guys have any more questions on that? And if you're,
Is there cost?
yes, that's what I was about ready to get
Talk
into.
about it.
Yep.
I didn't see anything here.
Usually, so in the very back on page 3, they have a place for a signature, and of course they have all the terms and conditions and all that stuff. I read, if you come up here to page 2, and it would be under the conception, is that it's willing to sign this document and that would okay them to get paid $6,900 to continue to
All the design work.
to do the design work. The design work, if you look down here below, you know, survey, construction, maybe a 3D rendering if we wanted something like that. Then all of this, if it's like a 3D rendering, it'll start costing more, obviously. Then after the signing page, which is page 4, they have a list of what it is, price per hour for that person to come out. So if you just need a technical support staff, it'd be $125 an hour to come out, and maybe what they call that is the staking. So that's what you pay, and then a professional surveyor is right here. So that's $175 an hour. If we want something to do with the ground, you know, geologists to come out. You know, they have all this stuff that you can choose from. So you can it's kind of a la carte, so you can pick from it. But was needing to explain this to you guys and see if $6,900 is something that would be worth going forward with, and if it is, then I need to get an authorized signature, and since Keith is not here, it'd be from Mr. Mark. So, I mean, if
Okay.
you guys got any more questions, or you wanna take a minute and read through it a little bit more, that's fine.
So I've not worked with contracts. Is this like the $6,900, is that
Get you
a
started.
reasonable, yes? I mean, you
Yeah.
think that's pretty reasonable?
Yeah, and I talked to the mayor today, and I did not know this, is that usually they think that the cost of the first doing the
This whole initial concept.
in this, yeah, like
Mhm.
conceptual type stuff, is usually like 10% of the end price.
Okay,
So that kind of makes me feel good that you know, it's not gonna be an astronomical number,
Well,
mhm.
you know, that at the
end
end
pri-
of
The end
this,
price of their design work?
well, no,
Okay.
no.
Or end price of the entire project?
Yes, that's what I took it as. I could be wrong,
Okay.
but that's what I took it as.
I mean, there's not a whole lot there, it's just some fencing.
No, and we're able to
Really,
reuse
it's
a lot of
really
stuff
just fencing.
and repurpose. The cost that's gonna be the most is absolutely the fencing.
Yeah.
And then after that, I mean, we can decide how expensive it's gonna be with the benches or, you know, shade
Oh, sure.
structures or, you know, that stuff. Yes, sir.
Is the fence going to be the same height for both, or is it gonna be shorter for the small dogs?
Well, that's a very good question. That's something that would be thought of in the conceptual drawing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say anything that has to deal with this side would have to be as tall as the big dog, in case a big dog got out.
Yes,
But I think at the end of the day, if we just make it all one same height, it would be easier for the contractor.
for both sections. Yes,
Mhm.
that's just what I was gonna say. It
Mhm.
probably would be a little cheaper, because they wouldn't have to order the smaller.
And one that I'm trying to keep aware of is that this will end up it needs care. It's gonna need mowed. You know, hopefully everybody picks up after themselves. But it's gonna need to be serviced. So I'm gonna have them estimate what a 10-foot wide
Yeah,
gate
say a 10-foot gate, yeah.
on each side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if that's coming off the pavement and going, and then coming
Well,
off the pavement going in, so be it. But you also have to make sure that you can get emergency vehicles in there.
Well, yeah, that, and so your structures,
Yep.
right? If you wanna take out, replace.
Yeah.
The-
Exactly.
The other thing that I bring up, because I did this for 19 summers.
Okay.
While I was teaching for Aero Fence Company in Fort
Mhm.
Wayne. When you put up chain link,
Mm-hmm.
if it's right on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
that is just a really tough thing to trim. And the grass starts growing up through that, and it doesn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to leave it up just a little bit, now, a big dog's not gonna get on anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
where your trimmer can go, and it keeps that, you can make it look a lot nicer,
Mm-hmm.
longer. That would be one recommendation that I would have,
Okay.
is not have that. Now, again, you're gonna have dogs that probably wanna dig,
Mm-hmm.
which, again, now do I wanna do this to make it easier for them to dig, or? That's just a thought that I had, because, you know,
Yes.
for a year, it starts growing up through
And-
there.
You know, in this design phase, definitely I can go up to the engineer and say, okay, you know, what do you think about it?
Mhm.
You know, what, cause he gave me, he sent me a whole big study that they went to, about dog parks
Mhm.
and the do's and don'ts. And that's one of the things about the cornering that came in. That's what came out of that do's and don'ts. So, you know, if I was to ask him about that fence, he'd keep that in mind and say, hey, what do you think about raising it up just a little bit so it's easier to trim?
Yeah.
And he might
Mhm.
say, well, absolutely. Or he might say, no,
No, yeah,
you know, actually what you wanna do is you wanna bury
bury
it.
it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and that would be the other option.
Mhm.
We're gonna require a little more work.
Sure.
Burying the whole thing.
Mhm.
I thought it was like a 1 foot wide, 6 or 8 inch deep footer of just stone, like river rock stone. When you put the
Hopefully
fence in,
the.
so now you have this section of just, and they're not gonna dig right at the fence.
Hopefully the guardians are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna start digging.
Then, now you don't have to worry about trimmers or anything.
And the thing is, you're going to have a number of dogs out there that are gonna be running around and that and the other, and are they even going to look to dig?
Another thing that we gotta look after is that, you know, weed trimming versus Roundup. Well, Roundup's gonna hurt the dog, or couldn't hurt the dog. So then we're gonna have to weed eat. So is leaving the fence up better or putting it down? If you put rocks in, you might have to weed eat it, or you know, you're gonna have to go through and you're gonna have to pull
That's true.
weeds, because you can't. So all this stuff is what this,
That's all what they do.
this study does.
Right.
Yep.
Um, we say go, and we have our questions, and they can answer them, and they can get us pointed in the right directions. They're actually the professionals at that part of it,
Yeah.
Sure.
so.
Well, being on the park board for a while, I know there's been a lot of discussion and a lot of different locations proposed.
Mhm.
Whether it's people working in the park or the park board or people in the community.
Mhm.
They, you know, it was a water tower, which I thought was a great spot until there was some discussion about that.
Mhm.
With some other locations, Kenneth Wright Park and stuff, and I'm just excited to see that. I think we might have a winner right here. in the
yeah.
Location.
Yeah, when there was a lot of people asking me what we were gonna do with that, and it just lent itself
Yeah,
It does.
to do that.
I know the
So
community really
Yes.
has been wanting something like this.
I hope
I know,
it's
I've been
what, I hope it's
surprised.
what they want.
I've been surprised how many people said, cause I was like, would you take your dog there? And they're like, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I've been to a lot of smaller towns than this one,
Mm-hmm.
and they have pretty good sized dog parks.
They
Yeah.
do, and you
But they're a little
gotta,
different. you
They
know,
are.
They're
and some of them are
come
like
to your own,
Bluffton,
and
is that
Yeah.
they give a key,
we are not responsible, yeah.
and they give a key to every person that stops by, and then basically the owner can open up and let their dog run. But you know, then you have, that's not necessarily the way I feel we should go with it. I
Mm.
think that we should keep vaccination records
Mhm.
Yeah.
for the dogs. And then if you're a year up on your vaccination records, that's when your lock key or whatever
Mhm.
stops working, and you have to re-up that. I don't think dog parks are very good when it's just open up the door
Yes.
and
Right.
let them run.
Right.
I think
agree.
there does have
I
to be
agree.
some organization
Mhm.
and to it.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm saying I hope that it is what people want. Because when you hear dog park, even in towns that you've been to, they're different.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like the idea of the small and large, that's great. Just because of the bigger dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Trample the little ones pretty easy.
Yes.
And the little ones can, you know, some of them can get pretty intimidated.
Well, and the little ones can be more aggressive sometimes
Oh,
than the bigger
yeah.
dogs.
Yeah, little
You know?
ankle biters.
Yeah.
Get it, yep.
Yeah, they get a really, they get a syndrome, so to speak.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've got one of those, yeah.
But, yeah, and then,
It would be great to get our, local, veterinary offices, I think, not maybe involved in the design,
mhm,
but in the support of having a dog park, and maybe offer some suggestions.
We'll
What
go
would be
around.
good for the intermingling of the animals and. maybe
I'll
there's
go
some
around
training, right,
and
that they could offer for dog owners,
and I'll ask.
because, crowds of
Um,
dogs are
I
everywhere.
think you're gonna find a wide variety of, yes, it's great, and
Yeah.
no, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't,
Well, to offer suggestions of, hey, we're gonna do this, and is there, can you offer a training, reduced cost, or
Mhm.
something like that? Cause if I bring in my dog and it's never been around other dogs, I'd want my dog to be able to, I wanna be able to control my dog too, right?
I do know
Something
where the vet, I can't think of its name, it's the, I mean, it might just be the Columbia City vet, but it's where Doc Ritchie used to be. They do hold some trainings, Line Street, I don't know with, changing out veterinary, the one that started that retired,
Oh, we did.
yeah,
Oh.
so there's new people in there. And then you got Seth out, that's Eel River vet, I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
that's where,
pages.
yeah.
So you got those three, here in town that
Mhm.
I will go around and I'll see if they, and it might be something too that opens up, if they're already doing some kind of training, maybe they do the obedience training at one of them. We block out an hour and, they can have obedience training outdoors
At the dog park.
at the dog park.
Yeah,
So
right.
there's all kinds of options
Right.
once we get rolling with it.
Well, it'd be nice for them to know too, to help promote it,
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Make sure that the dogs
Yes.
are getting their
Yes.
shots.
Yeah, well,
Um,
exercise too.
Mhm.
Because if, I know a lot of vets, when you go in, you say, okay, you're gonna ever kennel your dog. Well, if you say no, they'll say, okay, then you don't necessarily need kennel cough,
Right.
but if you are, then you need to get it. Well, this would be
Yeah.
if you're gonna go to the dog park,
Yep.
you need to make sure you get the kennel cough
Mhm.
vaccination, so they can actually help their patients out, help their dogs out,
Mhm.
and make sure they stay healthy that way too, so. Yeah, so the last thing that this needs to be done is just if you guys want to go forward with this, then, yep, you're gonna have to do that, so. Somebody throw a motion out and.
Come on, Roger.
Well, that we need to sign this,
Well, that we need to go ahead and,
Yeah,
the
proceed
motion
with-
would be is we proceed to go ahead with what JPR has
And pay the $6,900
and pay the
for
$6,900.
Yes.
I
For
move that we
concession.
accept, the situation with JPR and, the $6,900, for the dog park.
Okay,
Second?
second?
Any more discussion on it? Karen?
Nope.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, unanimous?
There we go. So Mark's on the hook now. He has to sign that before he leaves. One last thing is, you guys might have seen this on the table. This was a placard long time coming. It even took me almost 2 years to finally get. But this is going to be put up on the bridge that goes across up to Demoni Grimes.
Oh, I like that.
Excellent, excellent.
Because it was,
That should have been
nothing was
long.
never noted, and obviously it, makes hurt feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so a simple little sign like this can help mend fences, then, put it up, so we're,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna have this, probably like you'd see in most, monuments, it's just gonna be a small, maybe 2.5 foot off the ground, and it's gonna be slanted up top, and then that'll just be mounted
Nice.
to it right
Yeah.
there at the bridge as you're going
On the-
back
right
and
by the
forth.
lane.
Mm-hmm, yep, so,
Yes, they do a lot.
they do,
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Need to be
Awesome.
recognized.
yes. They just went through, and I don't know if Karen got notified of this or not, but But SDI was basically giving out those gazebo things.
Oh,
Yeah, the pop-up things.
Pop-up, yes, we
Yeah.
got one.
Yeah, we actually got two.
You did? Yeah.
Yeah.
We got several for the school, but Unified Track got one specifically, so I was
Oh.
pretty excited about that.
Like
The little-
gazebo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
you know.
little,
Hey, take
Yeah.
the
there's a name
sporting
for 'em.
events.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Thing,
Shelter, or
no, just those little things you walk the little.
Canopies.
Canopy, yeah,
canopy.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
pop-up canopies.
yes.
They're 10 by 10 or 12 by 12. I mean, they're pretty good
Those are
size.
They're, it was, I haven't,
Yeah.
we have it, but
And
we
they're
haven't
heavy.
pulled it out, yes.
They're heavy, so they're pretty good size.
Yeah.
And that'll help us. We're gonna have to figure out how to probably put our name in it, if knowing that the school has some,
Yes.
because we go out and we sell snow cones at the football games. So that'll be nice. We don't have to worry about trying to figure out who's gonna bring
Yep,
the canopy. Up canopy, we'll already have that, and it'll help us out.
Yeah,
So different
yes.
ways, and
Mhm.
I already seen a couple floating around in town too. So people are already putting them. I know Mission 25 got a couple. Yep. So
I think the district, we got 10,
okay.
and then, cause we got an email, saying, you know, which teams, but I think tennis got one, and so it was pretty nice. I was
Yeah.
very happy that we got one.
No, that's just a testament to some of the good work they do.
Absolutely. No,
Have anything else? Any questions or anything that you think maybe I
No,
need to elaborate?
no.
I think we covered everything.
Okay.
So I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye.